how to set one up, and we're going to use that for the demo. This is what's called a continuous flow unit that I actually made myself. It's a DIY, and you add your product to the top, and at the bottom you just scrape off the bottom and you get the vermicompost from the bottom. And I just use storage totes just to collect all of it, so it doesn't really get onto the floor, so it's easier to get. Yeah.
Welcome.
So that's it for the slide, but I'm going to show you how to set up a worm bin. This here has different levels, different trays. So what you're going to do, you're going to use the bottom tray, and you take a piece of cardboard or newspaper. I'm going to use a piece of cardboard right now. And what you want to do is this, at the bottom of each tray, there's holes for the worms to migrate up into. So what you want to do is you want to, what's called putting a false bottom into that tray. That way the worms do not go down into the liquid catch basin. So what I'm going to do is that this does not have to be like a big science project. Just rip it up, and you can even just fold it in. But I'm going to just rip and just place it right on the side. Everybody can come up and so you can see what's going on. Since I don't have a camera above me.
Put the camera up to the ceiling.
So I now have the false bottom, and I have some shredded, have a little newspaper, have a little printed paper, little cardboard that I shredded it up through, excuse me, my paper shredder. So what I'm going to do is take the bucket,
Now, can you do this in a regular bin too?
yeah, you can do it in a storage bin. I'm going to show the storage bin because I brought some worms in, which I've already, the storage bin I've already set up it about 3 weeks ago doing this. And what you want to do is do this about 3 weeks before you get your worms, so you can build up the microbes in there. Because that's what the worms actually eat. They don't actually eat the fruit necessarily. They eat the microbes that are coming off of the fruit, but they will eat the paper. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to lightly put some water in it just to make it moist, like a damp sponge. You don't want it too wet, because then you're going to have liquid going down into the bottom of the basin, which would be called Beachy. It's not a worm tea at all. It's a byproduct, which means you have too much liquid in your bin. I added a little too much already, so I'm just going to add a little more dry product to it, just to make sure that it dries up a little bit. And then we're gonna add the paper product to the worm bin. Now when you squeeze it, you just want to see just a few, this is a little too wet, but that'll be okay. You just want to see like maybe 5 drops coming out of this. And I have some produce scraps. One bag is banana peels, and the other one is apples. Apple cores and the apple skin. So I'm just going to add both leaves in there. See, just the smaller you make it, the faster it's going to compost. So then you just add some dry product to the top. You can add the cardboard. Worms love to eat the cardboard. They very like the glue inside. It's what we call in the business pretty much worm crack. It's like candy to them. So you can do big pieces or you can do little pieces like this. The small, like I said, the smaller the product is, the faster it's just going to break down. The more worms you have in there, the faster they're going to eat it up. I would, when you start in a worm bin, either use 1 pound of worms or 2 pounds of worms. Just, it'll give you enough space for them to do their thing. So now you wait, you put the cover on and you wait 3 weeks for that. Once that's done, you have this one. Oh, they also like eating like paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls. Cool. This is just different kinds of paper. So you can just add this to there. Now I set up this bin 3 weeks ago. I put some apples in there and some paper. And what I'm going to do is add some worms.
Where do you get the worms?
This is for my supply, but I have my own wholesale supplier that supplies worms for me. I do drop shipping for him. So when I get an order, I send the order to him, and then he ships it out to you.
Oh, wow, cool. There's a couple of suppliers on that handout that you have too.
I haven't looked at it.
These are called European night crawls, and these are the bigger cousins to the red wigglers. These are what they call deep drone worms. That they can go through the whole entire. Then you find them in the bottom, you find them in the top. The red wigglers are top feeders. So once the bottom's done, they'll just start migrating. So this bin, the green one that I just set up, is great for the red wigglers. So once you get the worms, it's gonna look like this, and you just add them right into the bin. Now when you add them, I would suggest to keep the lid off and keep them under a lamp for about 24 to 36 hours. That way they'll go down, they'll draw down, and stay in there. Then after that, you can use the put the cover on, and they should be fine. Now, some people use 2 bins and drill holes in the bottom of these to let a lot of people think it's the worm tea, but it's, like I said, it's called Beachy. And as long as you make sure that you watch the bin, make sure that it's at the right moisture, you shouldn't have to even bother it. People drill holes on the sides. I don't do that because when you get these bins, there are holes in the handles, so they have plenty of air in them. So that's how you set up a worm bin. I have this is, yeah, thank you. This is a worm bin. This is a different type of continuous flow unit. And what you do is that you open up the top, do it like I did with that. You put the cardboard on the bottom or the newspaper, and then you fill it up like this. Let it sit for a few weeks, add the worms, and what they'll do is they'll go down to the bottom, they'll start migrating up, and you just keep on adding product to the top. When the product's ready, you loosen these drawstrings. While it's still right side up, and then you just take your hand and pull the vermicompost on the bottom, tighten it back up, and just keep on adding stuff to it.
So when you add product, you add the
paper,
newspaper, apple cores, bananas.
Yep. What you don't want to add to it are meats and oils, because it's just gonna, they'll eat it, but it's just gonna stink. It's gonna stick up your house. It's not gonna be good.
So after you add like the apple cores and the banana peels that you added, you have to let that sit before you add worms?
When you first set up the bin at first.
Okay.
But once you have worms in there, you just add more stuff to the top.
Okay.
Not
How
water
long?
though, not water.
Yeah.
You don't add water?
You add water. You have to make sure that it's at the right
The same.
moisture.
Okay, stuff.
But you have to remember that when you add the produce to it, it's gonna leach out water out of it anyways.
Right.
So you just have to just feel inside. Don't be afraid. You're gonna get a little dirty, but it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt you. It's all organic and natural. Yeah.
You don't want to add citrus, right? Citrus peels.
I've added citrus peels. I've tried adding pineapple. A lot of people think I've talked to a lot of people that think that pineapples will, because of the enzymes in it, will kill the worms. I've tried it, and it didn't kill my worms. I think as long as you don't overdo it and put too much in there, you'll be okay.
Could you show us what to do with the green bin, how you can keep adding?
Oh, yeah. You have a question?
I was gonna ask, yeah, the bags, you said take the compost out the bottom. What stops the worms from coming out in the compost?
Because they're migrating up. Once they won't, with the red wiggles, they will not be at the bottom.
All right.
They'll be to the upper level. When they like to be within the 3 to 4 inch top level of the compost. With this bin, once you get this all established and they're pretty much about 3/4 of the way through, what you're gonna do is you're gonna add another tray to it. And
Show
then
us the
add,
bottom of the tray.
yep,
Yeah, see, they go right through it.
they'll go right through the bottom of it, and they'll start eating this top tray. You just keep on adding more to it. Now, once you get all 3 stacked up, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take these off, put them to the side, and you're gonna take the bottom tray and put it on top of this tray, and then you are gonna need to do what's called a light harvest method. And what you do, you put this underneath a light, and you just scrape the vermicompost off the top, and the worms will actually go down into this middle tray, this middle tray. So it's gonna take a few days, because if you do it straight, it's gonna take maybe about 6 hours, because you have to stop and wait for them to migrate back down. So it takes a while. This, you just open the drawstring, pull out what you have, put the drawstring back tight, and then just keep on feeding it.
I have a question.
Mhm.
How would you do that with this bin, the gray bin?
The
What would you
gray
have to do there?
bin, you would have to do the light harvest with this also.
Okay.
Or what you can do is make a sifter. I actually forgot to bring mine. I took hardware cloth, 1/4 inch and 1/8 of an inch hardware cloth, and I took 2x4s and made a square out of it. And I just put the vermicompost in there, and just shake it, and the vermicompost goes down into the bin that you're shaking it into, and the worms will stay right on the hardware cloth.
And what does this final product look like?
Final product looks like this. I brought some vermicompost in to show you guys. There's still some worms in here that I couldn't get out. Now, if you pick it up and smell it, go ahead. It's not going to smell like anything. It's just going to smell like earth, just like composting out of a compost bin. Go ahead. You can check it out. Don't be afraid.
What does that sell for? If you want to buy that?
I sell them in these small bags for $9 a bag. So it's about,
It's valuable stuff.
yeah, it's about a 3 to 4 pound bag. So it's about $3 a pound.
I've seen it for $5 a pound, yeah.
And what can I use that compost for?
You can make liquid fertilizer, compost tea, or you can just use it as a top dressing, or just mix it in to your seed starting mix, or mix it right into your garden's raised beds.
Could I use it as a nitrogen source for my lawn?
You can use it as a fertilizer for your lawn, but there's no nitrogen in it.
Okay.
It's, if you got this tested, I know some people that got this tested, and they were zeros across the board for NPK. But they had really big microbe production that they saw in there.
I have a question. How long does it take to get like a? You said that those bags are how many pounds?
That's between 3 and 4.
How long does it take to produce like 3 or 4 pounds?
It depends on how many worms you have in the bin.
Okay.
The more mouse you have to eat the stuff, the faster it's going to be.
Okay.
but when you start, it's going to be too crowded, and they're going to want to escape. Once they get to the max population, they stop making babies. So once they get to the max, they'll stop reproduction.
Now, are you using these containers because of the season? Would you do something different outside in the summer?
I would not do these outside and throw them into a big pile of compost. Number one, the compost outside is either too hot or they'll escape going somewhere else in the yard and you won't have any. I suggested that to some customers and they didn't listen to me. And they're like, well, my worms are not, I said, I told you to put in one of these pins and put them down in your basement. So
what temperature are we?
Ideal is about 72 to 75. They can go up to about 85 and as low as 45. If anything lower than 45, they're going to freeze. Anything higher than 85, they're going to die from heat stroke. It's going to be too hot, it's going to cook them. So the lower the temperature, the slower they're going to be moving. So they're not going to eat as much or as fast. They'll eat as much, but they're not going to be eating that fast. So the ideal is about between 70 and 75. My basement right now is about 69, but we haven't been using the furnace that often, only when we need it. That's why it's been a little bit colder lately.
So now how do you do the compost tea?
Compost tea, Mr. Corbin's going to be doing a compost tea demonstration. How he's going to do it, you just add the vermicompost to how he does it. I don't know, I use a fish, what you pump the air in for your fish, the aerators, and I aerate my tea for about 48 to 72 hours.
So when they get to be too many, do you just harvest those and?
Yeah, you can actually take half of this bin and move it and split it. That's what a lot of people do.
Right.
So some people have been doing this for 10 years and they have like 30 bins going.
Wow.
Do you recommend using different species in one bin?
The two species, if you're going to mix, I would mix with the European night crows and the red wigglers.
Yeah, because I only have red wigglers, so.
That's fine. But I don't know about how the other ones work. I definitely know the blue worms and the red wigglers do not get along. The blue worms actually take over the whole bin and the red wigglers will actually die. That's the only two that I know that do not get along. But the red wigglers and the European night crows are in the same family, and they actually work pretty well.
So so you can't put leaves and grass and whatever in there?
Yeah, you can.
All right.
I would compost it first,
Okay.
and then add it to your worm bin.
I got
Do you have a favorite worm to use?
I
I mean, because you're talking about 4 different kinds of worms.
Yeah, the two main ones I use are the red wigglers and the European night crows, which I have both in the basement.
Do you do the other ones as well, or you've not done that?
A friend of mine a few years ago said that she didn't want to do worms anymore, so she gave me her worms, which she thought was red wigglers, and they were actually blue worms. And that's one of the reasons why I found out about the blue worms. I added it to one of my worm bins, and the blue worms actually took over the bin. and I lost a good amount of red wigglers out of that bin.
Now, do they eat as much as the red wigglers?
Yeah, they overeat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the blue worms are tropical worms, and for people down in Florida or subtropical in that area, they do really good because it gets over 100 degrees, and for some reason those worms do very good in the higher temps, but not up here.
In particular about the types of paper or cardboard you use?
No, I use all different kinds. This is just printed paper, newspaper, cardboard.
So no special consideration?
No,
Sawdust?
you could use sawdust, but you would have to compost it a little bit first. They love used coffee grounds. It's very good grit for them, and it cleans out their intestinal tract.
What about eggshells?
Eggshells are fine, but you have to really grind them down
Like to almost like a dust?
to almost a dust.
What kind of worms are in my backyard?
Those are just earthworms, but they will not compost. They just aerate the soil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you sell these for bait?
Yeah, the European night crawlers are great bait worms. I use them for fishing. Or you can actually give them to your chickens. Do whatever. Give them to your fish if you have a fish tank at home. Yeah, they'll eat them.
Oh, all right.
Can we eat them?
I wouldn't suggest it, but you could.
Survival situation.
No, I think you'd get a tapeworm from that.
Ah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So how big is your garden?
I had 5 raised beds. I ripped them down and I'm doing, I'm converting it into an urban farm at the house. So I'm right now killing the grass so I can lay down compost and start a commercial operation.
Excellent.
Thank you, Steve.